name is Erin, and today we are going to unpack some common forms of transphobia. We all make mistakes and we are all human. And we most likely have all been transphobic from time to time. Even me, a non-binary trans person, has been transphobic in my past. But if you have clicked on this video, then your heart is probably in the right place. This video is just a starting ground to reflect on what it means to be transphobic and how we all as individuals can do better. So in the next two videos, we are going to talk about 5 phrases and then 5 behaviors that are really common but are actually quite transphobic. And we're also going to discuss solutions on how to avoid them. Talking about someone's preferred pronouns is actually quite problematic because you are saying that a trans person's pronouns are a preference rather than their lived reality. You'll notice that we don't say this to cisgender people who identify with the gender identity they were assigned at birth. When a cisgender person says that they are a man and use he/him pronouns, for example, we tend to accept that as the truth, but when a trans person shares their pronouns, this then turns into a choice. The reality is that nobody chooses their pronouns, there is only their actual identity. My pronouns are they, them, and these are the only pronouns that you can use to refer to me. This isn't my preference. So what's the fix for this? Normalize talking about pronouns, just not whether they're preferred or not. I understand that saying someone passes is often meant as a compliment, but this statement insinuates that passing as a cisgender person is good, whereas looking trans is bad. This statement implies that it's a blessing not to look trans, but there are several problems with this. Firstly, what does a trans person look like? The trans community is so diverse. There isn't one way that trans people look. And besides, we should celebrate trans identities rather than stigmatize them. And second, this kind of rhetoric implies that looking cis or passing is the golden standard and that we should all try to look cis, whatever that means. All identities are beautiful and all should be celebrated and accepted. So now when you go to compliment someone, just tell them how great they look, not whether or not they pass. Now, the reason why saying someone was born a boy or a girl is transphobic is because it suggests that there are only 2 gender options at birth, boy or girl, and that being transgender is a decision that someone makes when they get older. Like, for example, saying that I'm non-binary now, but that I was born a girl. That's just simply not true. This statement also suggests that external genitalia determines gender identity. But again, biology and gender are completely separable. We can't know a baby's gender identity based on external features. So if you're going to talk about someone else's gender identity, make sure to ask them how they identify. Maybe they identified as a boy or girl when they were younger, but that's not an assumption you should make. Society has told us that there are only 2 gender identities, man and woman, and so we've become accustomed to phrases like he or she and ladies and gentlemen. It's a part of everyday language. The problem with these phrases, however, is that they exclude anyone who identifies from outside of the gender binary. For example, I'm non-binary and use they, them pronouns. If you say ladies and gentlemen, I'm immediately excluded. So in order to be more inclusive, you could steal a page from my sister Tara's book. When she greets people, she always says, "Hey there guys, girls and non-binary pals." And instead of saying ladies and gentlemen at your formal event, you could say distinguished guests. Language changes and there are so many ways that we can adapt the way we speak to make it more inclusive for everyone. So it's pretty obvious that you shouldn't say transphobic slurs, but not everyone knows what terms are regarded as slurs. So instead of referencing some slurs here, we've linked a resource in the description below. We hope that you'll take some time to educate yourself on which terms you should avoid using. So thanks so much for watching our video on transphobic phrases and how to avoid them. If you're interested in part 2 of this video, where we'll discuss transphobic behaviors, then make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at 7800. And if you feel like having more queer and inclusive content in your newsfeed, then follow us on our Instagram and Facebook at 78hundred.clothing. We also have some clothes you might like. So thanks again, have a great and spectacular day, and remember, don't be a transphobe. Bye-bye.